nuts of them. But
Dude, did you hear me yell at you? Like I said, it's like 6:30 this morning. I said, nail that son of a bitch, Sawbones, because he hit the cabin with like 3 loud rocks.
Yeah, I heard
like,
you. So I didn't tell you about what I saw or what I heard over here when I was up in Overwatch. So I got in about 2:30 at night, and then about 30 minutes later, I turned on my red headlamp because I thought that, I needed to find the roll of duct tape to tape the shemagh. So I covered my head with the shemagh and just turned on the red headlamp.
Light discipline.
Discipline. I had to find it though, but that was part of light discipline. I needed the shemagh to stay on.
Right.
But it was just for a second because I was feeling with my feet. Couldn't find it, and then I found it. And just, 30 seconds or so after that, I got some rocks or nuts came in. And it had been really, really quiet.
They zeroed on your red light, man.
So, anyways, I was sitting up there and I had my back facing south, so I was looking glassing north. And I heard this loud, well, it wasn't really loud, but I heard something come through the trees, almost directly above my head, but it was sort of over there. And then off to my back right, I heard a loud impact here on the ground, like a giant rock.
Yeah.
And at the time, my impression was that this rock was, probably about that big. So
like a small melon or something.
Yeah, I mean, it was big, and it bounced. It bounced once and then twice. It was clearly rock. I mean, you can hear the thud, And so that really scared me, and I thought, man, that guy, I wonder if he knows I'm in here. And I was glassing the mountain trying to find him, and I couldn't find him, obviously all the vegetation. So then it got quiet again, and not much happened. I mean, I heard a few little, hits on the other cabins, which I couldn't tell if they were nuts or rocks.
Yeah.
I think I heard one wood knock sometime before that, a faint one coming from the northwest. And then about an hour later, I was sitting there. I think I was facing the same direction. I was facing north. And I heard this fast swish through the trees. And then directly behind me, another rock impacted on the ground. And it was a big rock too, but it wasn't as big as that one. This one sounded like a fist-sized rock. So anyways, I stayed put and I stayed in there and I just couldn't find him. And I knew he was up there. And that was at about 4:45 was the first rock through. 5:45 was the second one. It was right before dawn. And so at 6 o'clock, I couldn't find him. And so I got out of the chair and I laid down on the floor of the Overwatch. And I just laid on my back so I could see up under the edge of the canopy.
Yeah.
So I could get even further up there and look.
Right.
Because I knew he must be pretty high up there. But I wasn't able to find him. So at 6:15...
That's when you came and woke me up.
Yeah, 6:15, it was daylight now, or just barely daylight. And I knew that son of a bitch was out there and I wanted to get him. And I knew I couldn't see him in Overwatch. So I got out and I came out here. And as soon as I stepped out off the cabin door, there was a nut smashed in the cabin.
It was a rock.
A nut or a rock is one of them.
They all sound like big rocks.
It was pretty loud. It was just bang. And I thought, that son of a bitch. And then I turned left to come over here. And I remembered the big rock. And so I said, I wonder where that rock is. And I looked. And from over there, I could see this big rock right here.
Yeah.
Which is clearly out of place. Number one, because we walk through all the time and someone's going to step on it.
Right.
We kicked all these out. Plus, I've cleared this area of rocks.
Well, there's a big one right there, too. I mean, there's...
Yeah. So anyways, this is right in the middle, and I picked it up, and what I found interesting is it had been raining, and I don't know if you can see this, Alton.
Yeah, the light's bad.
But, there's dirt all over all sides of it.
It's been dug out.
So it's been dug up. And it was just laying there like that. And I didn't know if this is a finger mark or what, but there's some black smudges here. And, if you look at the rest of the rocks, they've been rained on. There's no mud on the top of them, no mud on the side of them. And this clearly is a pretty damn heavy rock.
That's the third.
You can see how big that
third
is.
big rock in
at least
2 days.
In 2 days,
At least, yeah.
And the other big rock is over there. We can get that one.
The one they threw at Holly?
Yeah. This is one that's thrown at Holly. She was standing over here and saw it come off this cabin roof. It bounced off and land right here. Those are two pretty big rocks. So, I don't know if there's just a big ape up there that's pissed off or they're stepping their game up. So anyways, I came over here And I put that ladder right there at the base, and you know, so I could get kind of up under this brush and the foliage and see if I can spot him. I knew he was still up there, but I didn't hear anything or see anything. So I was there a few minutes, maybe 5 or 6 minutes, and I heard a bang on the west cabin. So I said, well, there's one over there. So there's a big impact over there. So what I did is I went this way because
And we got busted.
All right, well, I went this way, and I knew that there's that downfall over there. So I figured if I sneak up from that side, I might be able to see through it if he's running across. And I came all the way around real slow, walk.
Good grief.
Wow. Did you hear that? I wonder if that showed up.
That sounded like a gun.
It sounded like a gunshot. That was
that
so
was
loud.
just-
That was a big impact.
That was a big rock, dude. That
Yeah,
was a
huge rock hit that cabin.
Keep talking.
So anyways, I got to about right here, and I heard a loud impact, not too unlike that, coming from the west cabin. No, there's two impacts. No, one impact. Again at the west cabin. I kept walking. I got in front of the east cabin,
in there.
and I was standing in front of the east cabin, and I started glassing down to where the RV is, and all of a sudden a rock came from across the creek,
Holy cow.
hit the east side of the west side of that cabin. So Charles's cabin hit it. I couldn't see because I was on the other side of that roof. So I said, that son of a gun. So I abandoned my plans to go to the west cabin, and there I was going after that.
Yeah.
So I abandoned my plans to go into the west cabin, and instead I went down by the RV and I posted by the creek. And as I was starting to walk over there, I heard two impacts come from that west cabin. Two loud bangs, like bang, bang. And then about 2 or 3 minutes later, there was a wood knock came from there. So I posted right there in the creek by the RV, just stood up against the RV. And I knew I had one to my left because he just threw a rock, and then off to my right, you know, one was at the west cabin. I was hoping one would come down through that area, and nothing did. So eventually I came back around to the west cabin, and as I got here to these west woods, I heard something run off and start dislodging rocks. Well, I don't know if it was running, but I could hear rocks dislodging. And so I kind of just posted there and waited, and I was hoping to see if he'd cross across the road and I can get a shot, but he didn't. I don't know if he just bedded down or went up the mountainside. And then I walked back over here. Now it's about 7:15, and as soon as I got back here, nut comes out and hits the cabin. And then it went quiet after that. That's the story.
Thanks.
All right.